In the late 1960s, Richard Branson was running Student Magazine, but struggled to land big interviews. One day, he called the Rolling Stones office, claiming to be a journalist from a major publication. He confidently told them he wanted an exclusive interview with Mick Jagger. Surprisingly, the bluff worked. He was invited to Jagger's house in London, where he conducted the interview. Jagger, assuming Branson was a seasoned reporter, casually spoke about the band's music and life. Branson later admitted he had no idea what he was doing, but the interview gave Student a massive credibility boost. That hustler mindset carried into his business ventures, where he often took risks without knowing exactly how things would work out. In the early 1980s, Branson was vacationing in the British Virgin Islands with his future wife, Joan. They were supposed to take a flight from Puerto Rico to the islands, but at the last minute, their airline canceled the trip, stranding everyone at the airport. Instead of waiting around, Branson had an idea. He found a charter company, asked how much it would cost to hire a private plane, then grabbed a small chalkboard and wrote, "Virgin Airways, $39 one way to BVI." He walked around the airport, selling seats to other stranded passengers. They filled the plane, flew to their destination, and Branson realized he had just stumbled upon a new business idea. He later called Boeing to inquire about leasing a plane to start his own airline. The rest was history. Virgin Atlantic was born. As Virgin Atlantic grew, it became a threat to British Airways, which was then the dominant player in UK aviation. But instead of competing fairly, BA launched a secret campaign to sabotage Virgin. BA's employees would call Virgin passengers pretending to be Virgin staff, canceling their flights and redirecting them to BA. They also spread false rumors that Virgin was about to collapse. Even worse, BA's people hacked into Virgin's systems to steal customer data. Branson eventually discovered the scheme and sued British Airways. After a long legal battle, BA settled the case in 1993 for £500,000. Instead of pocketing the money, Branson gave it all to his Virgin employees as a Christmas bonus. He called it the BA Christmas Bonus, a symbol of how Virgin had survived against a giant competitor. Richard Branson is an adrenaline junkie, and in 1911 he attempted to cross the Atlantic in a hot air balloon, the largest ever built at the time. Things went wrong fast. The balloon hit extreme weather, causing it to plummet toward the ocean at 130 mph. Branson and his co-pilot, Per Lindstrand, desperately tried to regain control. Eventually, they decided to jump into the freezing Atlantic before the balloon crashed. Branson was stranded in the water, wearing a survival suit, but he was drifting away from the rescue team. He spent several terrifying minutes alone in the sea, thinking he might not make it. Luckily, a helicopter found him, and he was pulled to safety. Despite the near-death experience, he attempted another record-breaking balloon flight 2 years later, this time across the Pacific. Before Virgin Records became a global music empire, Richard Branson was running a small mail-order record business. But in 1971, a postal strike hit the UK, cutting off his main source of revenue. Instead of shutting down, Branson pivoted. He borrowed money and opened a physical Virgin Records store in London, despite having no retail experience. He couldn't afford proper space, so he lived in the back of the shop, sleeping on beanbags and eating cheap meals. The store took off, attracting young music lovers and rebellious artists. It became a hangout spot for underground musicians, including the Sex Pistols, who later signed with Virgin Records. That one decision, risking everything on a brick-and-mortar store, led to Virgin's massive success in the music industry, ultimately allowing Branson to build his empire.